Welcome to Saints of the Day on Lumen Christi TV, and happy feast day to you. Today, the church celebrates the feast of St. James the Apostle. There are several James in scriptures, but the James we celebrate today is the Apostle James, or James the Greater. He is the brother of John the Evangelist, and both of them are sons of Zebedee and Salome. That title, Greater, was added to his name to help distinguish him from the Apostle James the Less, who is believed to have been shorter than James the Greater. The two were called by Jesus as they walked with their father in a fishing boat on the Sea of Galilee. Jesus had already called another pair of brothers from a similar occupation, and those were Peter and Andrew. And he walked along a little farther and saw James the son of Zebedee and his brother John. They too were in a boat mending their nets. Then he called them, and so they left their father Zebedee in the boat along with the hired men and followed him. James was one of the favored three who had the privilege of witnessing the transfiguration, the raising to life of the daughter of Jairus, and the agony in Gethsemane. Two incidents in the Gospels describe the temperament of this man and his brother. St. Matthew tells us that their mother came, as Mark will put it, it was the brothers themselves, to ask that they have the seats of honor, one on the right, the other on the left of Jesus in the kingdom. And Jesus said in reply, "You do not know what you are asking. Can you drink the cup that I am going to drink?" They said to him, "We can." And Matthew puts it this way, that Jesus then told them they would indeed drink the cup and share his baptism of pain and death, but that sitting at his right hand or left was not his to give. It is for those whom it has been prepared by the Father. It remains to be seen how long it will take to realize the implications of their confident "we can." These brothers seemed to be politicians. Their attitude made the other disciples so indignant at the ambition of both of them. On another occasion, James and John gave evidence that the nickname Jesus gave them, Sons of Thunder, was an apt one. The Samaritans would not welcome Jesus because he was on his way to hated Jerusalem. And when the disciples James and John saw this, they asked, "Lord, do you want us to call down fire from heaven to consume them?" Jesus turned and rebuked them. Luke chapter 9. And then Jesus taught them all at the end the lesson of humble service. The purpose of authority, he told them, is to serve. They were not to impose their will on others or lord it over them. And this is the position of Jesus himself. He was the servant of all. The service imposed on him was the supreme sacrifice of his own life. Later, James returned to Jerusalem but was martyred for his faith by King Herod, who decapitated him. Saint James the Greater is known as the first apostle to die. James was apparently the first of the apostles to be martyred, and about that time, King Herod laid hands upon some members of the church to harm them. He had James, the brother of John, killed by the sword, and when he saw that this was pleasing to the Jews, he proceeded to arrest Peter also. What can we learn from the life of St. James? We'll reflect more on that after the break.
Will you come and follow me if I but call your name? Will you go where you don't know and never be the same? Will you let my love be shown? Will you let my name be known? Will you let my
Welcome back. Thinking about St. James the Greater, several questions come to mind. Though many scholars refer to him and his brother as ambitious, it is possible to agree with them because of their line of thought. But what actually made them desire to sit one on the left and the other on the right of God's throne? Is it merely their desire for power, prominence, or position? Could it also be that they fell in love deeply with the master they have found? Remember, as much as they loved their dad, Zebedee, they left him with the servants in the boat, and that means a whole lot to me. I imagine their old father, who would probably need them often by his side. But once Jesus came forth, they were so captivated by the encounter they had that they left their father with strangers, not minding the danger of the sea, to follow Jesus. They most probably discovered a treasure that they could trade every other thing for and every other person in their life. And that is precisely what they did. Today, as we celebrate St. James, he challenges you and I, who encounter Christ anew in different ways each day. What are we making of those encounters? Let us conclude with the prayer of St. James the Greater himself. O glorious Apostle St. James, who by reason of thy fervent and generous heart was chosen by Jesus to be a witness of his glory on Mount Tabor and of his agony in Gethsemane, thou whose very name is a symbol of warfare and victory, obtain for us strength and consolation in the unending warfare of this life, that, having constantly and generously followed Jesus, we may be victors in the strife and deserve to receive the victor's crown in heaven. Amen. Thanks for staying with us, and happy feast day to you all, especially those who go by the name James.